family-owned businesses across our community. Our KBLA SMB Marketplace currently features The Cookie Dip, Bad Ash Bakes, Hair Concoction, Higher Education Accreditation Consulting, LACC Radiology Technology Department, and Malik Books. Your business deserves to be heard. Let KBLA Talk 1580 amplify your voice and connect you with our powerful community of listeners. Email smb@kbla1580.com today. That's smb@kbla1580.com. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
This is Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580 in our second hour on KBLA Talk 1580. My special guests include Sharon Reed, began her journalism career on the nationally syndicated program American Journal right after college. She's moderated political debates, hosted town hall meetings on gun violence and justice reform. Her commitment to sports journalism is also noted, working both as an NBA and NFL sideline reporter and a radio talk show host. Sharon, welcome to KBLA Talk 1580.
Honored to be on with you, Jesse. Appreciate it very much.
Now, I want you to know that the other guest who's joining us for this hour is not as serious as you are, so I'm trying my best. Trying my best to respect your journalistic integrity, your mind, and your thinking with none other than George Wallace. He doesn't really need an introduction, but I'm going to give him one. He's just funny, and I tried to get Tavis to come out of his office and join us for this part of the show because these guys go way, way, way back. George, there's a lot going on in the world.
There sure is, and Tavis is in his office. He's not working. He's just taking a nap. He's old. Plus, he's old. Miss Reed, I'm sorry. I'm going to be nice today, okay?
No, I want you to be authentically you. And I don't know what Jesse's talking about. He must not have looked up too much of my career because that's the stuff Jokes is made of.
Sharon, there's a lot going on in the world right now, some of which obviously George is going to offer some commentary on. But this Trump tsunami of unqualified appointments as a very serious journalist has to be shocking for you.
Well, and, you know, it certainly is. And I think by definition that's the word for it, shocking. But when we're talking about Donald Trump, and everything that came before him, everything he's demonstrated, I don't know that he can shock us. You know, Kim Kardashian did that cover of the magazine where she was all oiled up and we saw her derriere. That was shocking at the time. It's no longer shocking, okay? You know which one I'm talking about, gentlemen. And, you know, so this is what we expect from him. And yeah, I know George knows. Is that you, George? I knew you know exactly which one I'm talking about.
You mean the one where she showed her ass? Excuse me.
That one. That one. Okay.
You said that one.
Now, I don't mean to, you know, drag the show in a different direction, Jesse, but should we really be shocked here? This is what America, look at your life. This is what we're dealing with. You asked for it, and here it is.
You know, there is a lot of consternation being raised about the appointment of Matt Gaetz to be the next Attorney General of the United States. Now he's got a former Secret Service agent who is a Trump sycophant potentially heading the United States Secret Service. There are other appointments of seriously unqualified people who have no experience. Certainly, the Kennedy appointment, Sharon, is deeply troubling. And there are always the idea of pandemics that are just around the corner. If the NIH and HHS is not doing their jobs. Obviously, African American women have made tremendous strides politically during the Biden administration, really from 1619 to the present. Is there any concern or worry from you about what it literally means for Reconstruction, second Reconstruction, to come to an end?
Absolutely. They're turning back the clock. That's what Project 2025 was all about. You know, and the interesting thing, Jesse, is he told us the quiet part out loud. He screamed about it over and over again. This is what I'm going to do. And we had people who, you know, it's not about name calling, but they were quite foolish in telling us over and over. They're still doing it. Well, I know he said that, but I don't think he means it. This has far-reaching implications where we are literally moonwalking back to a time before Jim Crow. This is what they're looking for, and it's going to be incredibly difficult, if not impossible, to dismantle it. It absolutely will.
George, my question to you is, P. Diddy's been sharing his phone calls with other inmates trying to sabotage witnesses the government is alleging. Any of your thoughts on the P. Diddy trial? I was watching something on Facebook the other day, and a number of people who couldn't get into the P. Diddy party said they watched you walking in front of everybody. Is there any truth to that?
Listen to me. I want the judge to give Pete Diddy, give Diddy 30 years, give Puff Daddy, give him 40 years, give Sean Puffy Combs, give him 7 years. He did not invite me to one of those parties, so the hell with Diddy. And you know I would have gone to one. I was a freak back in the day, you know?
George, I've got some friends that told me when you walked out, your hands were mighty greasy.
Well, it wasn't slipping and sliding going on up in there. That's all it was.
This is Jesse. Go ahead, George.
I know you, the minister's son, but I think I would have gone to one of those parties. A lot of people had a good time at those parties. If I saw something wrong, I would have left.
You say you wouldn't have left? George, are you still there? Somebody cut George's line. This is Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580. We'll be right back with George Wallace and Sharon Reed.
Listening to Areva Martin in real time on KBLA Talk 1580. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. LA County's new Justice Care and Opportunities Department, or JCOD, is here to support justice-involved individuals and their families. The JCOD Support Center is now taking calls at 1-833-LACJCOD. That's 1-833-522-5263. Available 7 days a week from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m., the Support Center is your one-stop shop for re-entry issues and court support. They offer court reminders, connections to local services, transportation assistance for housing, court appearances, and childcare. The JCOD hotline provides personalized help to connect you with services that you need. And don't forget to check out justiceconnect.org for more information. Remember, it's free and available every day at 1-833-522-5263. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
We're not just a thermometer recording and broadcasting popular opinion. We aim to be a thermostat, transforming the conversation about climate justice in our community. This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk 1580.
We're thrilled to announce that the Dear Future Wifey podcast is now available on the Urban One Podcast Network. This show, hosted by Latiris R. Whitfield, explores the journey of discovering and rediscovering love and relationships. With over 500,000 subscribers on YouTube, Dear Future Wifey has become a prototype for discussions about love and relationships. Learn how to rediscover love, heal, and have faith in relationships. Go to urbanonepodcast.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
This holiday season, Capital One reminds you to give yourself the gift of 1.5% cash back with the Capital One Quicksilver Card.
Can I earn 1.5% cash back on birds?
Birds?
What if you sent your true love 2 turtle doves plus a partridge in a pear tree?
Sure, but why would anyone want that?
The song was very convincing.
Earn 1.5% cash back on all your holiday purchases with the Capital One Quicksilver Card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
As we go a little something like this.
Hey, it is me, D.L. Hughley, and I am thrilled to be heard weekdays in my hometown on KBLA Talk 1580. So check out the D.L. Hughley Afternoon Show weekdays from 2 to 4 p.m. exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580. We got a whole lot to talk about, let me tell you. That's for the real.
There's no time like the present. Let's get back to more of Areva Martin in real time on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm joined with journalist Sharon Reed and George Wallace. We're covering a lot of issues today. I want to give George an opportunity to respond to all of this P. Diddy stuff. Hollywood is really shaking to a large degree because of the ramifications and the consequences of his case and the number of lives that he and his activities have touched. George, now, you know Sean, don't you?
Do I know who?
Sean.
I do not know him.
You don't know Sean Diddy Combs?
No, I don't know him, and he never invited me to the party, so I do not wish to know him. I'm really mad at him. He should be comfortable for what he's done. He should be comfortable in jail.
There's no doubt about it. Of course, they're just allegations. They're just allegations right now. But Sharon, as a journalist, clearly this case cuts across Black culture in a profound way.
Well, it certainly does. And, you know, is it a shock? Of course it is. It's a shock, but it also is a reminder of how complex and layered, you know, our relationships are with power, influence, justice. And, you know, at the same time, Black people often exist in this dual reality. You know, we're pushing for accountability. We're preyed upon. We want integrity. And then we know all too well how the system has failed to deliver. I don't know if he's guilty or not. I know where there's smoke, there's fire. And Sean P. Diddy Combs, the things that have been rumored about him for many decades appear to be true. And we all know when they want to get you, they're going to get you. But this is an incredible dynamic where people are turning to Black media more than ever, getting information from The Breakfast Club, KBLA, and other outlets, particularly online, because of our mistrust so much of, we'll call it mainstream media.
So, Sharon, did you answer the question? You said, I don't know whether it's true or not, these are allegations, but I do know where there's smoke, there's fire. Now, that's saying both.
And baby oil. I could have added that, okay? I have my personal opinion, George, and I think I know exactly where P. Diddy belongs, and I do believe he also is quite comfortable there. Enjoy the buffet.
You know, it's also. Go ahead, George.
I thought this was Jesse's show.
No, I share it when George comes. I share it with him because I absolutely refuse to become the butt end of his jokes. No way. George has a way of making a national ass out of somebody, so I got to be real careful with my friend George. George, let me ask you another question.
Set me up.
This, Sharon and George, this case is showing some profound inconsistencies in the nation's judicial system, right? I mean, some people are getting off, and I don't mean that kind of getting off. They are simply not being charged.
I wouldn't have said that.
Matt Gaetz, the next Attorney General of the United States, has an allegation of sexual trafficking. The next Attorney General of the United States, the Chief Law Enforcement Officer of the United States. And yet here, there's a parallel case, Mr. Combs' case, and the next Attorney General of the United States. How can the Department of Justice prosecute that case next year when he will be sworn in theoretically as the next Attorney General of the United States, given his allegations and an ethics committee report that has not revealed all of the details of what Matt Gaetz has done, and yet Sean Combs and the details of what he has allegedly done are likely to come to light in ways that they won't in the Matt Gaetz case. Does that not show, Sharon, George, two different justice systems?
Absolutely.
Without it is. Come on.
I mean, they can do it because this is America, and they're going to do what they want to do. Ultimately, I have doubts whether a Trump administration Justice Department will end up prosecuting Diddy anyway. And Matt Gaetz perhaps is just the figurehead. Now, what I think the three of us can agree on is that Matt Gaetz will personally go through every stitch of evidence. He'll stay up all night looking at the P. Diddy evidence. But yes, I don't know how we can continue like this. We all want this kind of alleged monster behavior to cease.
Absolutely.
That said, if you're not going to prosecute other people who are accused of the same, and in some instances, perhaps even worse, I don't know how we can send anyone to prison on these charges.
Exactly. Well, let me ask you this question, Sharon and Jesse. Is it alleged that Trump also may have been to one of Diddy's parties?
Bingo. Okay. I don't know what's true or not. Maybe Jesse has more information than I do.
No, George has more information about Diddy parties than I do. I promise you that. I ain't never been invited, George.
You got the inside track. Was Trump there or not, George?
Also, Sharon, you said earlier, we're not shocked about anything. We're not shocked about anything that Trump does because I live in New York and we know Trump. Trump is a BSer, okay? The reason I know he's a BSer because that's what I do. That's what I do. All BSers know each other. All BSers know each other. Now, we don't know each other, right? But we know each other.
Do you give each other a nod, like when you come in contact just across the room, like when one brother sees another brother, they give a little head nod?
Yeah, exactly. Just like two, and you don't have to know each other. One brother will always nod.
George, what do you think about Robert Kennedy being Secretary of Health and Human Services?
I don't like any of them. I don't like Linda McMahon, the Secretary of Education. I don't like that. You know, she's in charge of fake wrestling. So, you know, what does she know about education?
Wow.
I don't like anybody in office. The Secretary of Defense, what does he know?
Absolutely nothing.
Everybody that's been nominated so far has been to jail or has a record. Most of them, 90% of them.
Shameful.
And
it's shameful.
Go ahead,
I'm sorry, George.
No, I wanted you to talk about what about the black guys that all stood behind him? What's happening with them, with the Tim Scotts and all of those guys that thought that?
I mean, they went out on a deep limb for him, and they didn't get appointed to nothing. Sharon, Candace Owens, Tim Wright, the brother McDonald's, Donald's out of the Congress of the United States. I mean, these were his strongest advocates during the campaign, and they're not cabinet worthy. Sharon, your thoughts on that?
Well, there's still time for him to find something for Kanye. He'd probably find something for him. Okay, listen. Anybody who follows.
As my daddy used to say, Kanye being in office makes as much sense as having an ashtray on a motorcycle.
My God. Although some would try it. Listen, he does not, Donald Trump demands loyalty. He does not reciprocate, okay? And when it comes to black people, it's just non-existent, okay? He did pardon Snoop's friend, but then threatened to take that back. Remember that?
Right.
I got to be honest with you on the question of pardon because, I've done 30 months of federal prison myself. I mean, I find it fascinating that as the Biden administration winds down, that there are nearly 77 million Americans who've paid their debt to society, and there's no discussion about their second life. I mean, we're discussing Hunter Biden. He hasn't served a day in jail. We're discussing Donald Trump. He hasn't served a day in jail. And Donald Trump passes out pardons like someone passing out tissue at a sneezing convention. But Joe Biden doesn't seem to be moving in the direction of clemency or pardons on the scale of the nature of the problem. In fact, Sharon, I could go right down every swing state, and in each swing state, there are tens of thousands of men and women, black and female, black and white, who've paid their debt to society, who could have been pardoned. And they would owe their loyalty to Joe Biden, to the Democrats, for the restoration of their lives. And it just seems that when it comes to the pardon power, the one unfettered power that the President of the United States has, that Democrats don't wield it quite like Republicans do. In fact, they rarely wield it at all. I'm concerned about that.
Fear. You should be rightly concerned, because at this point, the game has changed, and you're still playing by the old rules, Democrats. And that's part of the way you got into this predicament. I don't know why Biden would have waited 48 hours after this devastating election he supposedly has, absolute power beyond reproach. I don't know why he would wait one more second to start implementing things and ruling like he's the head of a monarch, even though he only has a few months left. There's no time to waste.
And I think this question that you raised about fear and Democrats being afraid, and even the president being afraid, any man who would not pardon his son or talks about not pardoning his son. I didn't mind doing 30 months of federal prison time. I was wrong. I was wrong as hell for what I did. I was guilty. I pled guilty. I saved the taxpayers' money. I did not need a trial. I just wanted to get it over with and get it behind me. But I've been an American felon longer than I served in prison. 10 years. And so when I think about men and women who paid their debt to society, they've done a lot more time than I have. They're now driving buses. They're now driving cabs. They're now making their money primarily through Uber. 77 million of them who simply need the President of the United States to treat their lives exactly the same way he's going to treat his son's life. And that is to restore his life and to get the government off of its back. And I'm deeply concerned and troubled by the absence of Democrats stepping forward to take advantage of executive clemency and pardon. That's where I am on that, George. George, you ever committed a crime?
No, I haven't. But I'm concerned about that. I never thought about it that way. I'm sure he's going to pardon his son. But you're right about that. If you've done your time and paid your time, you should be a free man now to vote, a free person to vote, pardon or whatever. That would be nice. I'm glad you brought that up.
I appreciate that, George. You ever spoke at a jail and seen our brothers and sisters incarcerated?
No. But I have performed at San Quentin. I performed.
Did they let you out? Did they let you out when you went in?
Well, let me take that back. I have a brother. We're from Atlanta, Georgia, and nobody in Georgia has a real name, right? Like my brother has. My brother is. His name is Tater Pie. That's because he likes sweet potato pies, okay? And I have another brother named Tadpole because, that was his nickname, but he's 70 years old. They still call him Tadpole, and it seemed like he would have grown into a frog by now or something like that, right? But I have another brother.
The show is out of control.
Jesse. Another brother, his name is Courthouse. My other brother's name was Courthouse, and I don't want to get into that, okay? I don't need to get into that.
Can I say this? Okay?
Sharon, go right ahead.
The number that you gave out is an incredible, enormous number, okay? If you just want to go political, it makes political sense to do this and to honor people who have served their debt to society. But the other thing that gets me is the overwhelming majority, I believe, of those people have value. They have value. They can show us. You don't know who might cure cancer or come up with the latest invention that will give us all some relief. And these are people that are just being wasted in a society that cannot afford to waste.
I totally, Sharon, agree with that. And again, this is like a fifth of the nation, both federal and state. So assuming that the president's power is only limited to the federal government, it means that governors are not using the power to restore their citizens either. Democratic governors are not using it. Republicans are not using the power to restore citizens. And I got a real big bone to pick about that, because when I was incarcerated,
what about the governor in Maryland? Is the governor of Maryland? He did it, didn't he?
I think he's done some, but he's also now eyeing the presidency. He's eyeing the presidency. The governor of Illinois, I think, has done a few. Obama did like fewer pardons than any president in modern history. Biden has taken some categories, but I mean, if I were president of the United States, in my first 4 years of being president, I mean, I could pardon 50,000 people a week and only make a small dent in the number of people who need a federal pardon. Sharon, Reed, please don't go anywhere. George Wallace, please don't go anywhere. When we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580, we have more to share.
Is the right time. More of Areva Martin in real time when we come forward.
I'm Amber Payton with 4 things you should know from BIN News. Lawyers for President-elect Trump are demanding that the judge in his New York hush money case throw out his conviction. They claim that the Constitution mandates immediate dismissal, the Presidential Transition Act, presidential immunity, and Trump's overwhelming win in the 2024 presidential election. Wall Street is closing with stocks mixed. At the closing bell, the Dow Jones Industrial Average gained 139 points to 43,408. The S&P gained less than a point to 59,17. The Nasdaq fell by 21 points to 18,966. New York City is taking additional steps to prevent brush and forest fires during the ongoing drought warning. Black Mayor Eric Adams has announced the city is suspending the issuing of permits for fireworks displays and open flames across the 5 boroughs. And a Florida man is suing Netflix over issues with the Mike Tyson-Jake Paul fight live stream. Ronald Denton claims Netflix breached its contract when viewers experienced buffering during the event. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 at BINnews.com.
Watch for heavy traffic taking over Downey's right shoulder involved in an accident on the 105 East before Lakewood Boulevard and a 50-minute traffic jam from Sepulveda Boulevard. Long Beach is still dealing with a stall blocking the 91 East off-ramp to Long Beach Boulevard, and a 25-minute backup runs heavy from Main Street. In Pico Rivera, traffic is still running heavy in recovery as the stall was cleared from the 605 South before Beverly Boulevard. Over 40 minutes of a backup in Costa Mesa runs heavy on the 55 North between Pellerino Avenue and the 91 freeway. Also, a 55-minute traffic jam is headed your way, Irvine, on the 5 North between Highway 133 and the Disneyland Drive Ball Road interchange.
Lowe's knows you want to get even more value for the holidays. That's why, as a My Lowe's Rewards member, you get new member deals every week on holiday decor, tools, and more. Program subject to terms and conditions. See Lowe's.com/terms for full details. Subject to change.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The NFL said it has no issues with players doing the Trump dance to celebrate a touchdown or a big play, but the league had all sorts of issues with players kneeling during the national anthem 4 years ago to protest social injustices after George Floyd's death. With more players doing the Trump dance since he won the presidential election, the NFL was forced to respond on whether the dance is a violation of the league's celebration rules. The NFL said the Trump dance is not a violation because, in their view, the dance is not a political statement. When some players wanted to kneel during the national anthem to protest police brutality, it became a political statement. Fans, politicians, and some NFL owners said kneeling was disrespectful to the U.S. flag and military. word. Trump was president when he called the players who wanted to kneel SOBs. It's obvious the NFL has its own definition of political statements. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Are you an entrepreneur looking to take your business to new heights? KBLA Talk 1580 is your partner in success. Every day, we celebrate and elevate Black-owned businesses across our community. Our KBLA SMB Marketplace currently features The Cookie Dip, Badass Bakes, Hair Concoction, Higher Education Accreditation Consulting, LACC Radiology Technology Department, and Malik Books. Your business deserves to be heard. Let KBLA Talk 1580 amplify your voice and connect you with our powerful community of listeners. Email smb@kbla1580.com today. That's smb@kbla1580.com. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
This season, Chevy brings classic pairings, cookies and milk, mistletoe and kisses, and your holiday plans and a new Chevy. Silverado 1500 gives you power and capability with 430 pound-feet of torque to haul your holiday tree. Equinox EV and the all-new Equinox offer award-winning quality and style to see you through the holiday season. See why Chevy makes everything better and brighter. Chevrolet, together let's drive.
If you're an adult in need of an accredited high school diploma, the Los Angeles Public Library can help. You can earn one for free in as few as 5 months online with 24/7 access. You also get a personal academic coach plus special training focused on 9 in-demand industries, as well as a resume and cover letter to advance your career. Visit the website at lapl.org/diploma. That's lapl.org/diploma.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Autopsy Initiative provides a second autopsy free of charge for victims' families who have lost their loved ones due to a police-related death. The services offered through the initiative include the completion of a second autopsy, disclosure of preliminary findings, and a final autopsy report. A police-related death is when an individual is harmed by police officers using deadly force, which results in an individual's death. Police-related death includes in-custody deaths, including those that arise during contact with law enforcement officers during arrest, pursuit, booking, transport, or incarceration. The Autopsy Initiative has a team of board-certified pathologists on call. An autopsy request may be completed by anyone with a close relationship with the victim, which may include the victim's spouse, partner, relative, close friend, or lawyer. To request a free second autopsy for a victim of police violence, please visit knowyourrightscamp.com. That's knowyourrightscamp.com. Then click on Autopsy, then click on Request. At KBLA, we believe in justice for victims of police violence. We say their names, and we don't black down. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to Areva Martin in real time on KBLA Talk 1580.
Yesterday we used to rock the show. I laced the track, you locked the flow. So far from hanging on the block for dough. Notorious, they got to know that life ain't always what it seemed to be. Words can't express what you mean to me. Even though you're gone, we still a team. Through your family, I'll fulfill your dreams. In the future, can't wait to see if you open up the gates for me. Reminisce sometime.
This is Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580. I think that's P. Diddy. Somehow that worked its way in. All right, yeah, okay. In honor of P. Diddy, every step, every breath we take. Okay. I want to come back to this issue right here of felonization for a minute, Sharon and George. And every time a president doesn't grant a pardon, he literally or she literally tacks 4 more years onto the sentence beyond what the judge said do and beyond what the jury said do on a person's life. I do not believe for men and women who have been victims of mass incarceration predominantly and overwhelmingly African American, that Donald Trump is going to treat them the same way he's going to treat January 6th rioters. None of our people ran through None of our people ran through the Congress of the United States and tried to disrupt en masse an election proceeding. None of them have violated the Constitution. Sure, they broke the law, but they didn't violate the sanctity of our democracy and the United States of America. And yet a pardon is going to be available for them that's not available for other men and women who have made mistakes in their lives and seek redemption. Let me just add this story, Sharon, and then I'd love to hear your comments on it. I was doing a radio show in Chicago, and I think George was actually on this show, when a gentleman named Larry, that's really all you get when people call in their first name, he said, listen, I really appreciate you, Jesse Jr., bringing up these issues, because 40 years ago I made a mistake. And recently I called my congressman and I got a ticket for me and my daughter to go to the White House, the Biden White House, and take a tour. When I went through security, they let my daughter through. But when I went through, they told me to come over here and have a seat for a moment. He said, okay. Then the Secret Service came over and said, sir, we can allow your daughter to pass. But 40 years ago, you committed a crime. You paid your debt to society. You're an American felon. We can't let you in the White House. That gentleman's name was Larry. And Larry said, on that day, I said to myself, I will not be voting for Joe Biden. I'm voting for Donald Trump. That's just how serious the issue of the restoration of people's lives are. And my position is, and I know this is going to run me afoul of the entire second chance community, I don't need a second chance community. I don't need another program on how I need to behave in society. I've got a law degree, a seminary degree, an undergraduate degree, 13 honorary doctorate degrees. I don't need that. I need the president's signature on a pardon. And so do 77 million men and women who made a simple mistake in their life, or even a complicated mistake in their life, Sharon, so that they can be restored. End of story.
End of story.
End of story.
And I like to say to people, who were you at 40 years ago? Excuse me, who were you yesterday? This thing where we just reflect and punish and drive into the ground and leave no room for hope. It's sick. I used to argue with my colleagues in the newsroom all the time because they would talk down to viewers and preach to people. And I told them, on any given day, there's no difference between us and some of the people we cover. Now, that's just the truth. I can tell you what goes on in newsrooms, okay? So this whole thing where we're just erasing, ostracizing, putting people on an island as if they have nothing to help and redeem and contribute to society, I think it's sick. The difference between Matt Gaetz and Larry is Matt Gaetz has had a daddy who's gotten him out of things time and time again. He's never been held accountable. And he still won't be. He still won't be. And this is an issue that every American should be concerned about, record or not.
Right.
George?
Well, I'm glad you have a lady like Karen on, because she just told it like it is. It's basically because of most of us. They're never going to be interested in releasing us or giving us our full rights ever again. And especially this administration, I think we're going to go through some hell in the next 4 years just by being black.
And we've got 60 days left of Joe Biden to do something about it. I've even heard people float the idea that Kamala Harris ought to be president for the last 30 days of this administration.
I said that.
It makes increasingly a lot of sense to me, because William Henry Harrison was the shortest serving president. He decided on a day in Washington, D.C., when it was below zero, not to wear a coat to his own inauguration. So he stayed out in the cold for several hours, caught the pneumonia. 30 days later, he was dead. and we ended up with the new president of the United States. Now, Joe Biden has done an extraordinary thing. He served under President Barack Obama as his vice president. He has served as president of the United States. He's appointed the first African-American woman to the Supreme Court. He appointed the first African-American woman who is senator and attorney general of the state of California to vice president of the United States. Man, he's got more yesterdays than tomorrows. He can pardon tens of thousands of people, and we don't care if he pardons Hunter. We hope he does pardon his son. But there are lots of other sons out here, and I'm more convinced than ever in the waning hours of his administration, Kamala Harris has a very important role for black women to play in the future of the Democratic Party. And to give her that title for just 30 days allows her the imprimatur to keep building the coalition that she tried to bring forward in 120 days. Sharon?
Yeah, and we'll follow that. We'll follow that. We respect it. We know what she went through to get there. And I'm very happy that Joe Biden, at this stage of his career in the last decade, and I'm not suggesting that he didn't do good work before that, okay? But in this last decade, and through some desperation, as Representative Clyburn saved his initial presidency in South Carolina, delivered that for him. So I'm very proud that he gave a black woman what she earned. But at this point, I'm with the both of you. He can step down and move aside and let her do this bold work. Someone has to pick up the mantle, and she is equipped to do it. We've seen it.
I would be so excited for that. My daughter would be excited. She would have a presidential library. Women from all over this country could visit that library once it is built and constructed and reflect upon the removal of the glass ceiling in the United States with this one single gesture. It is not a statement against anything that Biden has done. It is just a strong statement that he is interested in the future of our nation, that democracy matters, that women matter, and to celebrate her accomplishments, let her be 47, let her transfer power to Donald Trump, number 48, and make him sit there and take it from a sister.
Take it.
I
and
said
guess
that
what?
the first day it happened because it will mess up just the Republicans' marketing scheme. You just think how much money they'd lose with all those 40, with President 47. She should be 47. I think Biden should do that, and it's not too late.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580. We'll be right back.
She's the real deal in real time. You're listening to Areva Martin in real time on KBLA Talk 1580.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick. And it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapo Stick. Soothing comfort for the whole family. And when you need more comfort for yourself, try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks Vapors. Use as directed. Vapo Stick for use ages 4 and up. Vapo Shower Max use for adults only.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline Nasal Spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
Climate justice, climate equity, climate resilience. By any other name, we demand environmental justice in 2024 and beyond. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we don't black down.
Have you heard of the 50-30-20 rule? This can help you spend and save your money wisely. So how does it work? Distribute your dollars into 3 buckets. 50% towards needs, 30% towards your wants, and 20% goes to savings. Use this tool to help your journey to financial success. Sponsored by J.P. Morgan Chase & Company. With reported hate crimes rising in recent years, California has responded through outreach efforts across state government and in collaboration with community-based organizations for the launch of CA versus Hate. This non-emergency, multilingual hate crime and incident reporting hotline provides an anonymous reporting option for victims and witnesses of hate acts reported in 15 different languages through the online portal and in over 200 languages when calling the hotline. Report anonymously by calling 833-866-4283, Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. or online at any time at cavshate.org.
We've got a lot to talk about.
I'm Reverend Gerald, the life coach. Is someone you love struggling with addiction and mental illness? Is improving your family's health important? Want to leave a legacy that your family can grow? Are you ready to enhance your perception of life experiences? Then wake up weekends at 7 a.m. with Urban Family Focus and get the wisdom, opportunity, resources, and motivation to live your best life. Join the conversation on Urban Family Focus Saturday and Sunday at 7 a.m.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black. There's no time like the present. Let's get back to more of Areva Martin in real time on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm dedicating that one to Sharon Reed. Sharon, thank you for joining me this evening. And my good friend George Wallace is also joining us. George, I want to ask you a question fairly serious about the obligation that those of you who have the mic, the obligation that you have to our history at this moment, to our culture. I know, you just crack jokes and you're a comedian, but you're so much more than that, right? I mean, people come to hear you, they come to release their stress, they come to release the parts of their lives that they keep secret, but you pull it out of them and you give them something to smile about. We have an obligation, I think, at this period in our history, and those of you who are on stage, to bring joy, to bring happiness, to bring laughter, to take these things and put them in context for us. George?
Jesse, that's why I'm so blessed. I'm blessed I wanted to be a comedian since I was 6 years old, and I'm living my passion, and I thank God every day. Most people don't do what they like doing. I love going to work. I honor my essence. I hear people working, and like Miss Reed now, she sounds like she really loves what she does. And I'm glad she's on with me because I crack a lot of jokes, but she can really give it to you straight. But yes, my job, making people happy, that is a great gift. It is the toughest job in the world to be a stand-up comedian. And when I just love making people happy and telling jokes, that's my job, especially right now, what we're going to go through the next 4 years. If you can come out and get some laughter in your life, because laughter is healing for the soul. There's 97 quotes in the Bible about laughter. So if you can go out, when you stop laughing, you stop living. Let me tell you something about laughter. You know, you can't even fake a smile without feeling better. You can do it right now, especially if you're driving in that doggone traffic in L.A. Just go ahead and smile. Look to the car next to you and smile. They'll think you're crazy, but just put a smile on your face. Listen, don't start laughing. I'm trying to be serious. But that's what laughter does. Laughter makes you feel good. Enjoy your life. And I tell people, and young people, make sure you travel. Enjoy the time you're here on this earth. And it's your responsibility to make sure you enjoy your life. Mm-hmm.
Sharon, we've come a long way. I think from 1619 to the present, to this moment in history where we celebrate African American women and their extraordinary silent achievements. But those achievements increasingly are becoming more and more public. They're being brought to our attention in a very, very forceful and long overdue way. Can you bring us out of the program with your thoughts on what's next and what we can expect from the greatness of black women in our society and in our system?
I think as great as black women are, as great as we are, and as humble as we are, and as resilient and strong as we are, the one flaw that we have, which, is something that perhaps the family can appreciate, but we are not accustomed to putting ourselves first and unapologetically. And so when you ask what's next, Jesse, that needs to be next. I'm looking at white men all over the place, and you name some of these who are nominated for jobs they're not even remotely qualified for. But you know what they never do? They never are humble. They actually believe, because of white privilege and what this country has systemically lied about to them. Racism also hurts white people. They grow up thinking, too many of them, that they're the greatest thing since sliced bread, and perhaps haven't done the work to get there. So I think the black woman has to step out in front instead of giving someone a booster seat and take what should be ours. It's earned capital. I think that has to be next if this country is going to move to the next phase and continue to grow instead of regress.
George, you were about to say something?
No, my phone dropped, and I'm back in with you.
Oh, okay.
But Sharon is always right.
Yeah.
He missed all that. He missed everything I said.
When I think Sharon about my father's contribution in 1984 and 88, and I think about the convention in Chicago where they celebrated the accomplishments of Jesse Jackson and the modern Democratic Party. When I think about the fact that Barack Obama built on those legacies, became the president of the United States, spoke at the convention, and I think about the ascension of Kamala Harris. I put up a post today on social media saying, God is not finished with Sister Harris yet. And that, while she may be vacationing, we still need her vote in the United States Senate to help move 47 federal judicial appointments through between now and January 20th. We need her to come on home now. There's plenty of time to rest after January 20th. There is the possibility that millions of people under her leadership could receive the kind of executive pardons and clemency that they deserve, and to help repair her prosecutor image, let her be known as the forgiver in chief, to help restore people in our community. In that regard, we need her to come on home. And my father is still known in the Democratic Party for what he has done. Barack Obama is known in the Democratic Party for what he has done. Only history is going to show the significance of this hour and what Kamala Harris has done. She has brought millions of new, young, energized people into the political process. She made my daughter smile. Her defeat made my daughter cry. Her daddy, my daughter didn't smile or cry when I won. But she cried over the victory of Kamala Harris.
Yes.
Daughters around this country felt the impact of her moral appeal and her sensitivity. She mattered. And we won't know just how much she mattered. I don't want her to back out of the Democratic Party slowly. She gave a beautiful concession speech about continuing the fight. We need Sister Harris to come back to the contiguous United States, assume the proper role that she has earned and deserves in the Democratic Party as a senior statesman, help us with these federal judicial appointments in the waning hours of the Biden administration, and make the case in the president's ear that we're not just a party of prosecutors, that we are also a party of redemption and forgiveness. Let me give Sharon Reed the last word.
I just couldn't have said it better. And this is what I mean. Come home, as you said time and time again. Come home, Sister Harris, and do not cede where you are and where you sit atop the perch of the Democratic Party. Do not. People voted for you, and you need to carry that into the next chapter. And I couldn't agree with you more. It's the right thing to do, these pardons that you're speaking so eloquently about. It's also the politically smart thing to do. So if you don't find it in your heart and your moral fortitude, it's the politically smart thing to do to set the party up for the future. She's the leader.
There is no doubt about it. I'm honored that George Wallace spent this evening with me. George, I need you back. Sharon, you are welcome on KBLA Talk 1580 anytime that you desire. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. I'm the host until tomorrow on the West Coast. Grateful to Tavis Smiley and the KBLA family. Take a safe ride home, everyone, and be very, very careful. This is Jesse Jackson Jr., KBLA Talk 1580. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah.